G'day, I'm Fless. This is a quick review on an upgrade I've done to my old Cannondale. Includes a Chinese group set, some Chinese wheels and a few other bits and pieces. If you watch the video, maybe you might get a few ideas in case you want to do an upgrade yourself. The plan was to upgrade and paint my 20-year-old CAAD 5 Cannondale. It had a 9-speed Dura-Ace group set that was starting to show its age. It still worked fine, which really is testament to Shimano Dura-Ace quality. I spent a total of $1,100 on the upgrade. The new group set is a Sensah Empire 11-speed with carbon bits. It came with carbon levers, brakes, crankset, chain set, bottom bracket, front and rear derailleurs, a chain and an 11 to 28 cassette. Cost was $430, delivered including GST. Delivery was quite fast, it only took 2 weeks. I'm quite a weight weenie, so I weighed all the parts when they arrived. Most bits were comparable to the latest 11-speed Shimano Ultegra group set parts. The crankset was 100 grams more than a recent Chinese crankset that I had bought, so I didn't use it. In fact, the $100 red anodised hollowed out crankset was quite a bit lighter than the old Dura-Ace Octolink crankset that it replaced. Overall, I like the look of the levers and the rear derailleur. The brakes and chain looked okay, but the front derailleur looked cheap and it was 30 grams heavier than the old 9-speed Dura-Ace. The cassette was very heavy, so I ordered a lightweight Chinese one with the 3 largest gears and spider made from aluminium. I was very impressed with it. It was lighter than even an 11-speed Dura-Ace cassette. In the end, I didn't use the crankset, the brakes or the front derailleur, so I could have saved about $150 by selectively ordering. I could have bought the alloy version of the group set for $80 less. I very much doubt there's a difference in weight, so the carbon bits probably aren't worth an extra $80, but they do add a bit of nice bling. When buying Chinese stuff, you're always taking some risks and weighing them against the price. AliExpress is very good for ordering small bits and pieces for bikes. I picked up a great carbon saddle for $30, new cables, new Cannondale stickers and other cheap parts. When you're ordering stuff for $20 or $30, it's nowhere near as heart-wrenching as hitting enter for a $4,000 carbon road bike from a Mandarin-speaking wholesaler and baggage handlers who love throwing boxes around. After resisting for a long time, I also ordered some Chinese $50 carbon aero handlebars. YouTube reviews on these vary a lot. Some say they're great, some reviews point to failures. If your levers aren't upshifting smoothly in a sprint, you're not going to come a gutser. But if your handlebars crack, that's a different matter. I gave the bars a good work at pulling and squeezing them. They seemed okay, so I gave them a go. The other advantage of using the new bars was that I could remove the old bars, levers and all. So if the new group set was hopeless, I could easily put the old 9-speed stuff back on. Setting up the new parts was reasonably straightforward. I was very impressed with the rear derailleur. It has some nice carbon parts and I really liked the design. I did have some issues adjusting the rear derailleur to shift smoothly in and out of the 2 smallest gears. The fix for me was to insert 2 thin washers between the derailleur and the hanger, which had the effect of providing a little more spring pressure towards the smallest gear. I've noticed other reviewers of this group set have mentioned the same issue. As the gear cable enters the derailleur in a more rearward facing angle than the old Dura-Ace one, it was necessary to have a longer outer gear cable from the chainstay. The Sensah levers and rear derailleur are SRAM compatible. Shimano uses 1:1 cable movement to derailleur clicks and SRAM uses 1.4:1 ratio. So the right lever and derailleur aren't compatible with Shimano, but the left lever and front derailleur have no compatibility problems. I ended up sticking with the old Dura-Ace front derailleur by making a small modification to accommodate the thinner 11-speed chain. This provided a 30 gram weight saving over the Sensah one. Gear shifting is interesting to say the least. There is only one lever on each side. At the rear, a small click upshifts and a larger push of the lever downshifts. The front shifting is the opposite. This took a little getting used to, but after 1 or 2 rides it just came naturally. Upshifts at the rear are particularly crisp, but smooth downshifts are a little harder to master. The handlebars seemed to be pretty good. There were just 2 issues to deal with. The outer cables were difficult to thread through the internal holes provided to hide the gear cables. The other issue was that the lever lengths were much longer than the old 9-speed ones. This was partially fixed by using a 10mm shorter stem, but I might need an even shorter stem eventually. As far as new wheels were concerned, I cannot fault them. For $500 they are absolutely great, look good too. Combined weight was exactly 1500 grams, and they came with nice skewers, brake pads for the carbon wheels and spare spokes. I picked the red nipples and higher spec hubs when ordering. The supplier in China was very good to deal with. The only downside with the wheels was that they did take a long time to arrive, about 10 weeks. Now for my final observations. If you're handy with your hands, have some degree of mechanical ability, own a good selection of bike tools and like to experiment, upgrading your bike like this is a lot of fun. Be warned that you need to trawl AliExpress or eBay carefully. There are lots of traps, so take your time and order carefully. Don't be surprised if you make a few mistakes, but if you keep your purchases on the cheaper side, you won't get badly burnt. The successes of the upgrade were definitely the wheels, the red anodised cranks, the handlebars, the lightweight cassette, and the Sensah levers and rear derailleur. After a few weeks of riding, everything seems okay. For me, there's just one worrying issue regarding the gear shifting. I'm an old criterium racer and I don't want anything to go wrong in a bunch sprint. With Shimano levers, if you're in the smallest gear at the back under full power, if you try to look for a faster gear, pushing the upshifting lever will do nothing. However, as the Sensah shifters only have one lever, it's easy to push the lever over a little bit too far and mistakenly downshift. It's a little dangerous and will take a bit more practice to get used to. Overall, I'm happy with my upgrade. It looks good. The total weight is a pretty light 7.43 kilos, including pedals, speedo and bottle cage. If you have any questions about Sensah and buying stuff from China, just leave a comment below. So bye for now.